Have you ever looked in the mirror after becoming a mom and thought, who am I? Felt like you didn't fully recognize yourself anymore. Like you love your child more than anything, but somewhere along the way, you disappeared. If that's you, this video is for your nervous system, your identity, and your becoming. Welcome back to Gifts of Intuition. I am Melissa, and this is where we explore mental health through the lens of the divine feminine. Today, we're talking about something that doesn't get nearly enough space, the identity shift that happens after becoming a mother. The identity shift is not just physical, it's not just hormonal, but it's also psychological and emotional and spiritual. Because becoming a mother isn't just adding a role to your life, it's a complete transformation of yourself. So, we're going to be talking about that today because this is a very common topic that comes up in the work that I do with moms, women. Um, and I felt like this is an important topic for us to take a look at here on this channel. So, let's dive in. So, there is actually a term for this. This transition is called matrescence. It's like adolescence, but matrescence. That's how I remember this. Just as adolescence is a stage or a phase of life, so is this matrescence. It's the becoming a mom, it's the transition from not being a mom, and now you have this new role and everything that comes with being a mom. It's the process of becoming a mother. It can feel disorienting and overwhelming and even grief filled. And I think that's important to talk about, especially since there's a lot of shame that comes with these types of thoughts and feelings and experiences that we just don't talk about. So while you're gaining a child, you may also be losing a version of yourself. What might you be losing? Well, for those of you who have gone through it, if you know, you know. So, your independence, spontaneity, your identity as you once knew it. Yeah. And there's this truth that many women feel but just don't say out loud. You can love your baby deeply and still grieve who you used to be, and both can exist. This is an important part of your journey of embracing that shadow part of yourself and who you're becoming, and merging the two ideas that two seemingly opposite things can coexist at the same time, not diminishing one another, just existing together. So many moms experience what I call identity collapse. The old version of you doesn't fully fit anymore, but the new version of you hasn't fully formed yet. So you exist in this in between space. What this can look like is questioning your purpose, feeling disconnected from your passions, things that once mattered to you suddenly don't in the same way, or you frankly don't have the energy for them. Also, not recognizing your body in your own reflection, feeling invisible outside of being a mom. From the mental health perspective, this is completely normal. And again, should be talked about and normalized much more. But from a societal perspective, we're often told to just bounce back your body. We get that one a lot. I was recently watching some, reality TV, and they're talking about how quickly they bounced back. And it's like, good for you. Good for you. But that's not true for most of us. Bounce back to your life. Here in the US, we have uh, postpartum periods that are so short that it's like, okay, get your kid into some kind of daycare and get back to work, you know, and be the same person you were when you left, be as profitable and, on top of things when you get back. back to where you were and who you were in your life, commitments to friends, to family, um, where you were with your, even the things you enjoyed, your hobbies and your interests. But what if you were never meant to go back? What if we look at this stage as a becoming and not a going back? I mentioned adolescence earlier. We don't want or expect our kids to leave adolescence and then go back into it. We want them to continue growing into who they're becoming. Well, so that's true for us too. Yeah. And so I want us to really look at, this is not an expectation period. It is, but it shouldn't be. I want to invite you to consider that the expectations need to be very low right now in this period, because we don't know who we are. We're new. We're in a new phase of life in all areas, not just adding a member to our family. Through the lens of the divine feminine, this isn't a breakdown, it's an initiation, and welcome to it. In many ancient traditions, becoming a mother is seen as a rite of passage, descent and rebirth. I love that. I love that because we do break down in many ways at many times, but it's a journey of becoming who we are, who we're going to be, who we want to be. And so I invite you to take the journey. We're not just caring for life, we are being rebuilt. And for anyone who's rebuilt any area of your life at any point in your journey thus far, you know that rebuilding is often painful. It's very hard. From an archetypal standpoint of the divine feminine, we look to the mother. You know, in many traditions, with the maiden mother crone, you're entering that mother phase from that maiden phase. You are entering a phase of actually becoming creator. How cool is that? Now, I'm not saying you are God or we are God when we have babies, but we are creators. And that is so cool and painful. So I just embrace you to consider that you are becoming a mother, but you are becoming, and you are now a creator. You have crossed that threshold. You have crossed this threshold from everything you were before to who you are becoming now. And that's so powerful. And I really hope to help you see it that way. And like all initiations, there is often a phase of darkness, confusion, unraveling, even. Yeah. And, we have terms for that: postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, baby blues. And those are all valid terms. But from a more spiritual standpoint, just really looking at it as that unraveling of who you used to be, walking through this limbo stage on your journey to where you're going. And this is not because something is wrong with you, and that's important to note. It's not because something you're doing is ineffectual or broken. It's because something new is emerging in you, of you, about you. And um, I host a postpartum support group every week, and the topics we often discuss are things such as definitely postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety. Even if you have a history of depression or anxiety, or you don't, it is still very common to experience these things, um, because you don't know what you're doing. Before having a child, you had perhaps your career where you you've been building that career. Maybe you went to school for it. You've been doing it for years, perhaps, and you have a job that you suit up and you show up because you've been trained to do it. You have the experience and you do it. This is not like that. As many books as you can read or social media accounts that you can watch, um, whatever you do to prepare for becoming a mother. And I want to say this too, that doesn't just mean giving birth. That can also be adoption. That can be taking on somebody else's children in, precarious situations. Whatever that is, becoming a mother is foreign territory. You are not the trained expert anymore. And that's really hard to do, especially when we put so much pressure on ourselves as women to do things right and well. And this thing about becoming a mother, we have this belief system that it's supposed to be the most natural thing we do. This should be easy. This should feel right. And it doesn't. It doesn't always feel right. But if we can put the lens over on this is a new stage, a new era, a transformation, a shedding of the past, and a growth, a regrowth into the future. If we can look at it through that lens, we invite that it's not supposed to feel easy. If it does, great. You're not doing anything wrong there either. But for some of us, many of us, it just doesn't feel good. Or maybe there's parts of it that feel good and there's parts of it that feel like crap. Maybe you're bonding with your baby beautifully and you're not having issues with connection, but maybe you are. I have a lot of moms come to group and say, I had a traumatic birth. I had, it didn't go the way it was supposed to go. My baby went to the NICU. I didn't get to breastfeed right away. They didn't put the baby on my body because it was a C section or whatever it was. And maybe that's the traumatic experience of it all is maybe adding to this. I'm having a hard time bonding with my baby. Something that seems so basic and elemental in becoming a mother. We should bond and love our baby right off the bat. Some of us don't. It comes later, and that's okay. You will bond with your baby. It just sometimes takes a little longer than we think it should. So it's things like that. Um, maybe maybe your body is you've been gifted with this genetic I don't know, outfit that allows your body just kind of come back to this great place. If you were in a great place before you started. I, for one, was already overweight before I had my son. So for me to bounce back was like, I was I was hoping to go on a different journey after that. But for some people, if you've got a body that you felt very comfortable in, suddenly you don't feel so comfortable in your body. And you want to get back to that. And some people do. Some women, we've seen them. They get back to the gym. They eat the right things, and their bodies bounce back. But for some of us, it just doesn't work like that. Sometimes our birth journeys lead to complications, blood pressure issues, you know, um, structural reformation. As you know, when you're pregnant, your body softens and things shift. Weirdly, my right ear has never been the same. I got a head cold in my third trimester, and I got fluid in my inner ear. And actually, I don't even think it's the inner ear. I think it's like the eustachian tubes. I need to look into it more. I need to go in ENT. That's my truth. I need to get to a doctor about it. But anyway, we're talking now over 10 years since I gave birth. Again, a mom who's put her needs on the back burner. Guilty. But the point is, that weird little component of my body has never been the same. And it's just stuff like that. Sometimes our bodies just don't work the same after giving birth or having a baby or going through pregnancy. So I just want to normalize that and just recognize that this is not as easy as we think it's going to be often. And that's okay because, again, through the lens of transformation and rebirth and regrowth, it's not meant to be always so easy. And so, how do we begin to find ourselves again? Well, it's not easy and it takes energy, which you certainly do not have in the beginning. I often say the first 2 to 3 weeks are like being in the trenches. You know, I did not like the newborn phase. I was having panic attacks. I was having a really hard time, especially in those first few weeks. Not to say I didn't have a hard time at other parts of it, but it was really hard in the beginning. You've got the lack of sleep. I love my sleep. I am somebody who give me 9, 10 hours of sleep, and I feel like, okay, I did the thing. I did what I needed to do as I was asleep. I know some people can exist and do great things with 6 hours. I am not one of those people. I don't know about you. If you are, good for you. But it takes a lot of getting that energy back to be able to, like, really dive into this. So let's just be gentle on the first few weeks to months, and that's assuming your baby's doing things that were to be expected. That's barring any additional complications that enter the picture. Okay, so how do we begin to find this new self? Well, we want to embrace the fact that it is not the old you. It's just not. You are not the old you. But we can integrate the old you. Integrate. So it's not a clean cutoff. Again, comparing it to adolescence. When a kid enters adolescence, they're still that your baby is still there. And you when you were an adolescent, you were still there. You just merged into this new person. So it wasn't a cutoff. It wasn't gone and new. And it's the same for this stage too. There is an integration that we want to invite and allow to happen. So I want you to invite, first and foremost, letting go of going back. Again, physically, I know for some people that is possible to have your body bounce back, especially if you have a career that emphasizes the way you look. I For people in media and Hollywood, whatever, um, they have a whole team of people. I assume, I don't know, I'm not one of them, but they have chefs, dietitians, coaches, whatever. But they have to. That's their career. It very really depends on how they look to sustain their living. So I also, no shame to them that they have to do that. But for many of us, we maybe want our bodies to look a certain way as soon as possible, but the whole team of people to get us there is not a reality for most of us, certainly not me. And so we want to, and that's just the physical. I want to invite you to think about too, career wise. You're not going to be the same as you were. I mean, you could be, but as you are going to learn if you're new to motherhood, sacrifices will be made. They will be. And so I just want you to let go of the idea of going back. There's no going back. You are not meant to return. You are meant to evolve. Secondly, name what you've lost. Name it. There is power in acknowledging grief without shame. Name it. And don't feel any shame about that. I have lost spontaneity. I have lost the ability to Netflix and chill all day long if I want to. I have lost the ability to get up, go run whatever errands I want to run, and come back whenever I want, whatever it is, and not worry about anybody else, or go on a vacation. Whatever that is for you, just name it. And don't feel like you're being a selfish, horrible, bad person because you miss things that you had before that maybe you didn't even think you'd miss. Or maybe you thought, well, I don't know, I'll figure it out. And here's the thing, this is the integration part. You will figure it out. Your kid or kids will eventually get older, and independence does come back in a way, and that will evolve over time. Um, but certainly in the beginning stages, there's a lot lost. And I'm not saying it's not worth it. It is worth it. Your kid, this baby that you worked hard to bring into this world and you're working hard to give everything they need, they are worth it. And you've also lost a lot of yourself in this process. Name it. I've lost my ability to stay up late, sleep in, whatever the thing is. Yeah, just name it. Reconnect. Also, reconnect with the small pieces of yourself. So, whatever that looks like for you. Um, Again, I mentioned, hobbies and interests, getting those back, whatever you can, um, in a way that feels helpful, but not filled with pressure. Have a grace in it. Not all at once. So, you know, for instance, if you're someone who likes to be physically active, you like to run, you like to hike, you like to, spend an hour or two in the gym or whatever it is, bring back movement, bring back the fun music. If you're somebody who puts, yeah, like this great music in your ear to knock out a workout, bring the music back, but do it while you're driving. Maybe your babies, they don't care. They don't know what they're listening to. It can have all the bad language at once. If it gets you pumped up, go for it. But just find those pieces and bring them back. So movement can be a gentle walk with your baby in the stroller. Um, it can also be like setting up a situation where you do basic things while stretching, So maybe, I know, bear with me here, but like you're folding laundry, if you ever get around to that ever again, by the way. But if you're folding laundry and you're getting a little stretch, getting a little side workout in, doing some squats while you do it, whatever you can. Again, depending on what your birth journey was like, go gentle, have grace with yourself, get doctor's permission, whatever, but just find ways to incorporate movement. There was one mom I was talking to. Um, while her baby is doing tummy time, I was like, well, why don't you get down there and do your own tummy time? But it's a plank, you know? Um, that that planks are awesome. That's a full body workout, depending on how long you hold it. And again, keeping in mind, she gave birth not long ago, so it's like it may be a 5-second plank. I don't know, but at least it feels like she's doing something because she was very much into exercise and health, and she feels like she's lost a lot of that. So really embracing that part of herself again and just finding ways to add strength and movement while figuring out this new mom job, you know? Let's see. I want to add expand your identity beyond motherhood. So as we're incorporating things, we're also going beyond. So you are a mother and a whole human, a whole woman, you know, um, whatever that means. Girls' nights, date nights, planning your next career move when you do get back at it, when you feel ready. Um, so yeah, what is it that you need? What is it that you want? Um, since I had my son many years ago now, I have had many career moves. I mean, just like this YouTube channel, I'm still figuring out who I want to be and what I want to do, um, and just going along for the ride. You know, when I had my son, this was pre-pandemic, and with all of the downsides that came with COVID, one of the gifts was telehealth and the advancement of technologies like this where we reach out to each other and we connect through video. My career has taken a whole other direction since then. When I had him, there was no telehealth as a therapist. That wasn't a thing. You worked in a treatment center of some kind. Um, and those jobs can be very demanding. and I don't need to go into that here. But it was a job where I had very little benefits. I had to get back to work. There was a very strict um, maternity leave window, and if you're a mom in the U.S., you know the pay is not great. My job didn't pay me anything. It was all, the government pay. So I didn't have much time with my kid. I had to get back to work. And I feel like I've diverted off my topic here, but the point that I'm trying to make is you are a whole person and we are trying to figure that out. So we want to invite you to figure out for you what is that going to be now. For me, again, now I know how I got here. I was talking about all the ways that my journey has changed just since I became a mom and how COVID helped with that. Thank you, brain. There may be a little bit of undiagnosed ADHD happening here. We'll see about that. I don't know. Do we all feel like we have ADHD sometimes? I think we all feel like we all have it. But anyway, um, yeah, being open to this journey, being open to you are becoming a mom, but like what else? You know, it can be exciting. It doesn't have to be scary. It can be scary. Again, when I gave birth, there was no such thing as telehealth. My career has taken many different directional changes that I could never have imagined because we didn't have it, or we hadn't had the pandemic by that point. So that's all to say, keep your mind open. We don't know. We never know. And that's okay. It can be better than you hope for, just bigger, better, broader. You're going to find how you become involved in your kid's life moving forward. Are you going to be the soccer mom? Are you going to be, I don't know, whatever? Are you going to be the mom that cooks and bakes? Are you going to be the mom that, so I don't know. Are you going to be the mom who's working and you've got a partner who's at home doing that kind of stuff too? That's great if you got that. Or are you a single mom, and building your village? And what is that going to look like? What do you want that to look like? I invite this to be an exciting piece, not an intimidating piece. If it's intimidating, hold off on that one for now. We want to also learn how to regulate the nervous system. Because identity is a disruption, uh, this change in identity, I should say, is a disruption. It can feel like anxiety, irritability, numbness, fatigue. Um, because again, this isn't just an emotional experience, it's physiological. You are not who you were in many ways. Your hormones are different. Remember my ear, your body is different in many ways, in obvious ways or subtle ways. It's not comfortable for your body to operate suddenly with this shift in hormones, this disruption to your sleep schedule, this heightened sense of um, trying to get ahead of things, trying to plan and prepare and predict everything that's going to happen or could happen, all the what ifs, all the if I do this, then this could happen. And like having not only mom guilt, but like mom guilt in preparation for the thing you could do. Oh my gosh. If you know, you know. So again, I'm just going to recap these. So you're never going back. Embrace that. Let it go. You're not going back. You're not meant to. And that's a good thing. Name what you've lost. Grieve it. Goodbye to this part of me, at least for now. I invite you to also consider things can come back later if they're meant to and if you want them to. Reconnect with the small pieces of yourself in gentle, easeful ways. Expand beyond motherhood when you feel ready. Again, that one can feel daunting, but also learning how to regulate your nervous system. What helps you feel grounded, because we can often feel this anxious energy that just makes us feel like we're floating away, we're losing control. Oh my gosh. So come back into the moment, ground yourself. So with that being said, I want to offer a gentle reflection for you in the idea of grounding. If you are willing or able in this moment, if you're, somehow listening to me while you're driving or operating anything, please don't, but save it for later. But I invite you to close your eyes for a moment and ask yourself, who am I becoming? Not who I was, not who I should be, but who is unfolding right now? Like the wings of a butterfly are coming out from the little cocoon. Who am I becoming right now? Mm. And you can meet her. As you have your eyes closed, you can meet this part of you that's coming. And maybe she's coming into focus. Maybe not yet, but invite her. Invite with curiosity instead of judgment. I've said many times, and I'll say it here, if we are in curiosity, we cannot be in judgment. So try as you can on this journey forward into your own motherhood story here. Try to have as much as curiosity as you can with yourself and your child or children and partner, whatever. Because hey, your partner is becoming who they're becoming too. Um, so just try to be in curiosity rather than judgment. Again, embrace this evolution of self. It is hard. This is possibly the hardest thing you're ever going to do. It's meant to be hard. It's serious work. You're bringing a life into the world, and you're blindly, often it is the blind leading the blind with you and your partner on this journey, but just often you're going to feel like, I wasn't prepared for this. I don't know what I'm doing. Um, what was I thinking? Was I meant for this? And I just want to say to all of that, okay, you're right where you should be. You're right where you should be. You're doing what you need to do. It doesn't feel good all the time. It's exhausting. It is hard work, and mistakes are going to be made. But that's okay, because mistakes are made in every transition of our lives. Every time we go from one phase of who we were into who we're becoming, we make mistakes. We screw up. I do. I have. I am not unique. I am just like you in that regard. Lots of mistakes have been made, and I've learned from them, and I use them in who I'm becoming. It's part of why I'm here on this video, part of why I do the support group that I do. Honestly, I brought a lot of my own mistakes as a mother into a lot of the therapy sessions that I've done, because honestly, sometimes all a person needs to hear is, I see you, I feel you, you're not alone, me too. I say all of that because though my story doesn't look identical to any other person's, and none of our stories look identical, there are through lines that we can all relate to. And so just be gentle, go in curiosity. Okay, so if any of this has resonated with you, and this video is being made largely for women in the newer stages of motherhood, but you may be also watching this video if you're pregnant or wanting to get pregnant, or considering having kids. Watch it and maybe come back to it when you're closer to that stage, because I think it's good to have a reminder that this is not easy stuff. And I know if you're anything like me, I would have maybe watched a video like this when I was pregnant or trying to get pregnant and thought, oh, well, cool. It's good to know that it's going to be hard. So I can expect that. And I want to say to you, you have no idea what what it is until you get there. I as a licensed therapist going into new motherhood, there were certain things that I felt like I had an understanding of that I knew were going to be hard, still caught me off guard. So come back, bookmark this video, like it, save it to your watch later, whatever. But for those of you who are in the earlier stages of motherhood, watch it a few times if you need the reminder. Yeah. So I just, again, if this resonated with you, I want you to know that you are not broken and you are not failing. You are the best mom for your baby. Just keep doing what you can in small increments and having grace with yourself. You're in a sacred transition, and that does deserve support, and it needs the right language, but it also needs compassion. So s- get the support you need, whether that's through individual therapy, your personal village of support people, support groups, videos like this on YouTube, um, but also get that language. Learn how to say, I'm not okay, and that's okay. But have compassion with yourself. And if somebody in your life does not have compassion with where you're at, those are not your people right now. Nope. Maybe they serve a purpose in other areas of your life, but not here, not now. So if you're navigating this identity shift, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Um, I want to hear from you what feels most different about who you are now. What are you noticing when you look in the mirror? Who do you see? What do you see evolving? Do you have a sense of who is this person? Who are they becoming? And if you want more content like this, where we bridge mental health and divine feminine, please be sure to subscribe right here to Gifts of Intuition with me, Melissa. Thank you for being here today. And again, I am happy to be part of your village. And take care of yourself. Be good to yourself.